This beautiful private footage from 1943, showing the border between occupied Ukraine and the Generalgouvernement in occupied Poland, fits in well with today's production. For relatively small occupational forces to successfully control large populations, German authorities often turned to working with foreign security members that were willing to collaborate. In part 2 of this series, we'll take a look at a 1942 article which describes in detail how Poles and Ukrainians were being organized to work for the Germans, how they were trained, and the responsibilities that they were given.
Plenty more episodes are planned for this groundbreaking series, which will integrate primary historical sources, including journals, newspapers, rare film footage, periodicals, and even unreleased diaries, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's worth it, I promise. This is a 1942 collection of journals which were produced for various members of the German security services, including the police, the SS, and the SD. These rare journals, almost impossible to find in complete collections, are an incredible resource for Holocaust studies. From the 10th year of the series, we're looking at Journal 1 from January of 1942. The title of the article is Die polnische Polizei und die ukrainische Hilfspolizei im Generalgouvernement. Mit den 2 Jahren des Bestehens, the Polish police and the Ukrainian auxiliary police have been operating in the territory of the Generalgouvernement since its founding on October 25, 1939, under the supervision of the German security forces. Now, 2 years later, is a good time to take a look back and get an overview of the development of this organization. When the campaign in Poland came to an end and the Generalgouvernement was created, responsible SS and police leaders called for the re-establishment of the Polish police, which would be led by the head of the German police. The former National Polish Police were reorganized into units that operate at the municipal level under the leadership, supervision, and surveillance of the German police. In regions in the Generalgouvernement containing a substantial Ukrainian population, auxiliary police units made up of Ukrainians were created. To add context, the Generalgouvernement was never meant to function as an administrative area where services would be provided to inhabitants and their rights protected. It was a lawless personal fiefdom of the SS leadership, where Jews from Greater Germany and occupied Europe were being dumped. Robbed of their valuables, which were sent to the German Reichsbank, it's also where the final solution to the Jewish question would be realized. But the occupiers couldn't administer such a large population and realize their extensive plans by themselves. That's where the Poles and the Ukrainians came in. While there was a sufficient number of trained former Polish police officers available, the establishment of a Ukrainian police force initially lacked all the necessary personnel and material resources. This was because during Polish times, every attempt by Ukrainians at self-governance was put down sharply by the Polish regime. Because of this tension between the populations from before, it was then impossible to reinstate the former Polish police, which meant finding new Ukrainian volunteers for these regions. responsibility for the creation of these new auxiliary units was given to the German military police. Of course, these new officers had absolutely no formal police training. Exceptionally challenging was communicating in different languages. The training of these Ukrainian officers focused only on the most critical skills that they would need to perform their assigned tasks. The Polish and Ukrainian police are responsible for keeping order, security, and controlling traffic locally. In addition, they are responsible for completing all tasks assigned to them by the German police authorities. To a large extent, their ranks and their command hierarchy are the same as they were during Polish times, except for changes that have been introduced by the German police. An important focus of Polish and Ukrainian police activity is the fighting of bandits. In these activities, the German military police provide substantial support. Recently, they have shown themselves to be especially effective in this field, especially the Polish police. They fought bandit gangs in the large cities with determination and, in some cases, engaging in battle, have taken casualties. Numerous Ukrainian police have been killed in action. These photos were taken after a partisan attack in the Ukraine on the night of the 30th of December, 1942. And this photo shows a young team of Ukrainian auxiliary police in the District Galician. In German-occupied countries, the euphemism of fighting bandits when describing partisans was common, especially when collaborationists were involved. It insinuated the righteous keeping of order by a legitimate government. Weiterhin wird die polnische und ukrainische Polizei. When the harvest comes in, the Polish and Ukrainian police have been actively involved in controlling the black market. In the large cities, the Polish police have been instrumental in actively containing the Jewish ghettos. Once again, the collaborationist is simply keeping the new order. Polish and Ukrainian managers are assigned important administrative tasks, for example, organizing the collection of fines and unpaid taxes. Furthermore, they carry out a high volume of requests from various German authorities and agencies. In general, the Polish and Ukrainian police complete their tasks efficiently and take their responsibilities seriously. Central clothing supply centers have been established for the Polish and Ukrainian police forces to procure, manufacture, and supply their own clothing and equipment. The Ukrainian auxiliary police were relatively few in number in the Generalgouvernement. With the commencement of the campaign in the east, and with the addition of the Galicia district, their numbers have increased considerably. In this district, the former Ukrainian militias were disbanded, with suitable volunteers being placed into auxiliary police units. In some instances, officers and NCOs from the Habsburg times who had learned German have been put into leadership positions. Consideration for the replacement of future Polish police officers is taken seriously, with young candidates actively recruited and brought into the system. Schooling for the Ukrainian auxiliary police cadets from Galicia will take place in Lemberg, and for Polish candidates in Neue Sandez. Die Eröffnung des Polizeischule. The creation of the school in Neue Sandez was ordered by the commander of the police in the Generalgouvernement, SS Brigadier General Winkler. The school is now able to offer a multi-year program which systematically prepares cadets. Until now, it is focused on providing more advanced training for experienced Polish police. However, in the future, we'll begin accepting those with no formal police training. A similar police school will soon be opened in Lemberg for the training of Ukrainian cadets. In a speech to new cadets, SS Brigadier General Winkler said that serving as a police officer in the Generalgouvernement is sometimes difficult, but that the German administration and police can be counted on to stand behind them and provide the necessary equipment and training to get the job done. Winkler continued, "Those cadets that are receiving their first police training are all volunteers and have joined at a time when the monumental struggle in the East is coming to an end. The Führer is freeing not only Greater Germany from the nightmare of Bolshevism, but rather all of Europe. In particular, this part of Winkler's speech hit home with the candidates. Have your police compatriots that experienced life under the occupation of the Soviets explain how they were treated. What would have been your fate had the Bolsheviks been allowed to swarm over the border? The Polish police should be an instrument to keep order and security, and thereby take part in the unified front in the battle against the destructive Bolshevik elements. The schools in Neue Sandez and in Lemberg, providing vital training for the Polish and Ukrainian police, is one more example that everyone that is willing to contribute to the great reconstruction project taking place and all of the lands within Germany's control will be well taken care of. Here is a photo showing police trying in vain to free a truck stuck in the mud somewhere in the Soviet Union. The National Socialists believed that their new order would last far into the future. To make it comprehensible to the common man on the street, 1,000 years. In order to realize their dark dream, they knew that they'd need to rely on foreigners willing to collaborate, at least during the initial steps. But for the Polish and Ukrainian police, much like the capos in concentration camps, which helped keep order in the individual barracks, their usefulness, too, would come to an end. If you like this kind of content which integrates different primary historical sources, open a free account on our website military1945.com and stay informed. Patreon supporters preview all videos uploaded to YouTube and get regular access to footage that can't be shown here. Thanks for watching.